Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd like to remind everyone to please make sure that all cell phones are turned to the off or vibrate position. Also, please be advised our city council meetings are broadcast on television, on Comcast Channel 99, and rebroadcast on WMGJ Radio. This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilwoman Toles. Here. Councilman Williams.
Here.
Worthy.
Here.
Eccles. Here. Billingsley.
Here.
Councilman Cannon is absent today. Councilman Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum present and our meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask Councilwoman Toles to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everyone and in the audience, as you compose your hearts and mind for today, we pray and approach the throne of God, praying that, Father, you will take care of all of us. You've blessed us today. And, Father, as we come to transact business for the city, we pray that it will be done decent and in order. We just thank you for this day. We thank you for those who work for the city, work outside of the city, and we just pray for this country as a whole. We give you all the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hello.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and council meeting held on March 6th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
The chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of accounts for the weeks of March 2nd through 8th and March 9th through 15th.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Proclamations, Mayor? Okay, unfinished business, we have none today. This is the time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing, allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of an ordinance rezoning property located at 751st Avenue in District 3 from B4 Design Review District to I1 Light Industry District. Jeff Gilchrist, the owner, requested the rezoning so that an ambulance service could be operated at the location. The planning commission unanimously recommended approval. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? This ordinance has been presented today for first reading, and the council will vote on it next week.
Mr. President, I'd like to suspend the rules and that we vote on it today. And I ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the ordinance today at its first reading, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we have unanimous consent for consideration.
I move for adoption.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution authorizing economic development agreement with Gadsden Mall Associates LLC to locate a Longhorn Steakhouse at 941 Rainbow Drive. This is to grant a rebate of 2% of the city's 5% sales tax proceeds for a period of 3 years from the opening date or until a total of $210,000 has been paid to the developer, whichever comes first. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved. Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution approving.
Mr. President, can we go back to number 10?
Sure.
before I could say, I was gonna ask if we could suspend the rules.
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution.
It passed.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one good thing to note there is that we are utilizing, in conjunction with our public-private partnership, that is the Gadsden Commercial Development Authority, we're utilizing the tool that we have as a city to try to draw commercial development. And so this is an opportunity for us to extend this agreement. This is not anything that finalizes the development of a Longhorn. Again, this is us extending the agreement as a means of drawing the developer to this area to build a Longhorn Steakhouse. So we want to be clear about that, because if the developer decides that they do not wish to move forward with something like this, then, you know, we would have to go back to the drawing board as it relates to that. So, so again, I always want to make that clear. Lisa Osborne and her team are working very hard to try to put together something that's meaningful for both this commercial interest and others that are interested in our area. So please always be mindful of that. That's something that we work very hard to do, because we know people have a strong interest in commercial interest, whether it be restaurants or retail establishments. So just please be mindful of that. Lisa, is there anything you wish to share? Okay, all right.
She's the reason why I got my signals from her, so that's the reason.
I probably said too much, but at any rate. All right, so our next public hearing is a resolution approving issuance of an alcoholic beverage license. Kafitsi Nayawali Parku, doing business as Snack and Fuel. I really should have skipped that first part.
Yeah.
At 1230 West Meakin Boulevard, has applied for an off-premises only retail beer and table wine license. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 617 Turntine Street in District 5, FNA NP LLC, with redemption rights of Camelback RX LLC being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, I'm Brian Harbison with the Building Department. We started this process in August of last year. There have been no improvements, so there are no permits to improve, and we're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance. Thank you.
Brian, is that one that you think we might would look at to see about rehabilitating? Okay, thank you.
What is the pleasure of the council?
So on recommendation of the building department, he's gonna look at it and see what we can do as far as rehabilitating it, and then make a recommendation then.
Yeah.
So what I need to do, pass it?
Pass it or table?
We need a resolution.
Okay, we'll make a resolution to abate the nuisance then.
Second.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 38 Lakefront Avenue in District 6. Mary Lou Helms as the life estate holder and Jacqueline Lowe as a remainderman, and the estate of David Wayne Helms being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, this case involves an accessory building. We started the process in September of last year. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve, and we're asking for a resolution to abate the nuisance. Thank you.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our final public hearings are resolutions assessing nuisance abatement liens against property. These are agenda items 14 through 16. This is for demolition that has already been performed, and we have 3 locations. I'm going to read the addresses and names, and anyone who wishes to speak about any of these may come forward. 1341 Alabama Street in District 3, $3,366.40. 555 Line Street in District 3, $2,666.40. And 915 South 15th Street, it's in District 5, $2,491.40. Sir, if you would, give us your name and address and tell us which property address that you're speaking about.
My name is Larry Adams. The property is 555 Lion Street. I'm coming in on behalf of Ms. Donna Isom. When the house was demolished, we called and tried to get some information about how much would it cost, how much we would be billed. We have not received a bill. The only notice we have got on it is this hearing. We called several times trying to figure out how much it's going to cost, but we have not received anything on it. So I'm here to trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams, what I would encourage you to do if you've got time after this meeting is to talk to that gentleman right there, and he may be able to provide some guidance. Okay? All right. Mm-hmm. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to any of these resolutions? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? The chair will entertain a motion to adopt all 3 resolutions.
So moved. Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt all 3 resolutions, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt all 3.
Item number 17 is a resolution authorizing agreement with Crescent Moon Entertainment. This is for high voltage to perform at the amphitheater on Friday, July 6, 2018, and the amount is $2,750. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay. New business, is there any new business?
Yes, Mr. President. In fact, I have 2. The first, and these are requests from the Personnel Director, but this is a reclassification of a job and classification and moving pay range from 6 to 7. And I ask for unanimous consent to consider this.
Second.
Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today as an item of new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
I move for adoption.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
No, this is a job title of a therapeutic specialist. I learned what that was today. That's somebody that works with children in our, basically in our parks department, special needs children, physically challenged children. So this is somebody that's already doing the job. We're just making sure that she stays in this particular job.
Okay. All right, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Is there any more new business?
The second item that I have, this is amending the city code, section 102, and this pertaining to classified service vacancies, and I ask for your unanimous consent.
Second.
Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the ordinance today as an item of new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we have unanimous vote for consideration.
I move for adoption.
Okay, is there any discussion?
This is where we'll be advertising certain jobs in the classified section for vacancies.
One thing I'll add to this is that this formalizes a practice that was probably already in place, but it formalizes it, so it makes it a rule as opposed to just a practice. Much like it's much like what we do with minority-owned and women-owned businesses in terms of, you know, sourcing actively for those through formalizing that process. You ensure that whomever is here, in whether it be a new mayor or the council or whatever, whoever's in any of these seats has to follow this rule. So again, this is definitely something good for us.
Yeah, and those last two was from the complaints from the EOC, so.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Is there any more new business?
Yes, Mr. President, I have one. It's a resolution authorizing the acceptance of property from the Etowah Gadsden Healthcare Association Authority for $1. I ask for unanimous consent to hear it today.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
I move for adoption.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Yes, this is some property that's close to where the old fire station is in East Gadsden, and the city's getting it back to give to someone else to make a museum out of it. So it's a win-win situation for the city, and we've already got the dollar in the bank. Don't be, Ivor.
Don't bring that in there.
All right. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, is there any more new business?
Yes, Mr. President, I have Resolution 146, awarding bid 3369 to James E. Watts and Son Incorporated for the Hastings Park Area Drainage Outfall Improvement Projects. That's for unanimous consent to consider.
Second.
Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution under new business today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Now move to adopt.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, I might say that this is a drainage problem that's been going on for some time, and it's rather large. It's going to get done, and I'm happy to see it.
All right, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, is there any more new business? Department reports, committees, boards. All right, citizens' requests. Mr. Wrigley, you want to come up?
That must be yours. Put stuff to mine.
Cynthia, that's your,
Whoa.
that boy got a lot of medals there.
My name is Jadrian Rigby, and I am the founder and the visionary for the Gadsden Burners. The Gadsden Burners is an official travel track team that represents the city of Gadsden. We've been in existence for 5 years. My purpose in starting this organization was to feed into our track program and also give our kids an opportunity to have a better chance at life. I moved back to Gadsden, and I've been here specifically to help our kids. We are comprised of about 60 kids that compete year-round. Recently, we went to the USATF, which is United States of America Track and Field, which is the governing body for the Olympics. This organization hosts Allison Felix. Anyone that you know, any track star that you know, the Olympics, what we watch, they start at these. Took 24 kids to New York, Staten Island, for the National Indoor Championship. And we came out with 3 gold medals, 1 4th place, and 3 5th place. The top 6 in the nation get medals. 2 of these persons, Jakari Ember, so forth, and Jakari is the top hurdler in the nation in the 15-16 age division. He's also a member of the Gadsden City track team and the football program, and he has played basketball. Then you have Jacoby. His relay team was #1 in the nation, too. All of these kids have been representing our city very well. It's very hard because we go through a process of the state, then you compete against 4 states, and in the 4 states you have to come the top 5, and then you compete nationally. These kids have won gold medals representing the city of Gadsden. In a time frame, and I always say this, when we're looking for us to be champions, because we're called the City of Champions, these kids have been doing this. And today I just want to make awareness of the fact that we have champions right here that are unknown to most of the city of Gadsden. The obstacles that we face, lack of funding, no place to practice. Our kids primarily practice in the street. We practice at the Martin Luther King Center, which is an abandoned building, and I train them with one of my coaches, Coach D. We're all products of the Gadsden City school system. And our kids have excelled. We compete against programs that have 1,000 kids. We're competing against Sacramento, San Diego, Houston, various cities that have a larger pool to pick from, but yet and still our kids excel. Only thing I'm asking today is that Gadsden be aware that we do have champions, and they are representing us very well, and they go out and they behave and they win. We are also recognized by Nike as one of the top track programs in the nation. These kids have now had a chance to run before scouts, and they're also doing various things. We try to get back to the community. So I just like to say to the city of Gadsden, to the city council and the mayor and everyone, that you have a bunch of champions right here that are unknown, unsung heroes. And we just ask that the city would just help to push them and motivate them to do greater things, because this gives them a chance for scholarships. It gives them a chance to be productive citizens, because we teach them about representing our city and coming back and giving back into the communities. Thank you all.
Hey, Jay, just a quick question. I just have a quick question. What event does that little one participate in?
As a matter of fact, this little man right here, we train them from the age of 6 and up. They start at the age of 6 and up. He was on my 7 and 8 relay team, and actually, we would have had 4 gold medals, but we got disqualified in the other one. We would have been in first place, but we got 4 of them. We had the top 8 and under 55-meter person, the top hurdler, then their relay team was top, and then we had another 5th place. It's hard to win individual events. It's easier to win relay. It's very hard for us because we're such a small city. We have to have 4 sprinters, and a lot of times we have 3 or 2 sprinters, and then we have 2 medium kids, but we're competing against cities that have, like in Houston, Track Houston has over 1,000 kids in their program, and they have 4 different locations that they can practice at. So they divide up in the different sections of the city, and they have facilities. And here we're competing against the high school, so I primarily have to train these kids in the streets. We're running up the hills by Job Corps. We're running Nakalula Fall, the trail. I have them utilizing that facility so that we can have it. And we teach them the fundamentals of it. I know we will be recognized by the USATF. Alabama will be recognizing us soon for our accomplishments because we are the top track program in the state of Alabama, right here in the city. And all of these kids go to Gadsden City Schools.
All right. Thank you, Jay.
I got a question. What happened to the little girls? There's about 5 or 6 in a family that's been doing that for quite a few years. I know they're all getting bigger. I can't think of their last name. You know who I'm
The
talking
Price
about?
Kids, I know you, yeah.
Yes, that's it.
They opted not, well, one of them, it gets a little tricky because we are a travel organization, so we have to be careful as not to get the high school into trouble. We just got through doing indoor track. Okay. Indoor track and outdoor track are two different sports.
Right.
So you can compete with me for indoor, but once the outdoor season starts, they can't do any outdoor events until after they get through with state competition. Okay. So I have to make sure that I'm legally, as Attorney Roberts will testify, make sure that we don't get the school system in jeopardy. Yeah. But our primary goal is to train them in a way that will affect the school system. Yeah. All these kids feed back into the Gadsden City program, and hopefully we will soon have state titles on the track and field effort. Okay. But they're winning nationally on their own, so I just like to thank them for that.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. We appreciate it. And these young folks deserve to be commended for their hard work and their accomplishments. And not very many people can say that they have a national honor of any kind. Right. So again, I think it's worth noting the accomplishments. And you know, I think it's important to also note that we had some good discussion upstairs regarding some of the particular nuances that that dictate how we can fund travel teams and how we can work through dealing with youth leagues and things of that nature. So it's tricky. Because again, there are a number of things that prevent a municipality from funding those types of activities. But it's something we're going to try to work through and see where we can support at some level. So in the meantime, I think you know, as we've done in the past, we'll continue to personally support. I think there are a number of us that try to personally support, and we'll continue to do that as a stopgap. But we'll continue to work through, and you've got the commitment of our legal department to try to work through that. So.
We would also just like to say thank you all for all that you've done. I know there's been a little bit of miscommunication, but the purpose was just simply to let these kids know that the city has not forgotten them. Because we live in a time frame now, and I'll just be truthful, where a lot of the people, the citizens of Gadsden, feel like that the city is not doing enough for the youth per se. It's partially some of their fault and then some different things, but we want to make sure that our youth will not only become productive citizens, but they will come back to Gadsden and that they will feed into the communities, that they won't leave and go, because we have a number of athletes that do and leave on. But I want to make sure that our kids know that we do have citizens and people here in the city of Gadsden that support them wholeheartedly, that travel with them and that will give their all for them, because I subject myself to everything. I put down my work. I do everything. I travel with them. I travel with football, basketball, everything, to let them know that the city of Gadsden is behind them, and we need more of the support so that we can get more state titles, that we can get more national titles. But it takes the the efforts of the city and the city of Gadsden coming together, and even the businesses that when we go downtown, you see Titan Pride. You know, my problem is I go in Southside, I go in Etowah, and I see Panthers and I see Blue Devils. But when I go downtown on Gadsden, I don't see Titan. So we need to, as a city, support our young people, because a lot of them, and I deal with them daily, a lot of them feel like the city does not support them. So they feel like they're just fighting for themselves. So as a whole, I would just encourage the whole city of Gadsden to be visible in their upcoming and supporting them. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to say, Jay Rigby, and you know, I see you all over the country. I've got grandchildren that travel with track, and we went to Kansas last summer. You're talking about hot. Man, was hot up there. But it costs money for these kids to do this stuff, and it's not free, so Well, there's, you know, the citizens got checkbooks they can give also, so, so we, and it's just one thing, we have to come together and do what we can to make sure the situation is improved. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. So we were, I think what is important to note, and I think Jay was educated, Mr. Rigby, I'm sorry, Jay, I know you, and, I mean, Mr. Rigby was educated on some nuanced items earlier. And it's just some things we're gonna have to work through legally. I know people get wrapped up in emotion and sometimes don't always see that, because I think it's really fair to these, other 6 council members and myself to note that we generally do not say no when we get a request for discretionary funds. We generally say yes to everything. The only thing that causes us to have to say no are the legal limitations associated with issuing public funds to a specific type of organization. We've had to, historically, we had somebody up here 6 years ago really bothered that we couldn't give to a specific individual youth football team. And there was nothing that we could say to her, to that individual to get her to understand that we can't give to that individual football team, but we can give to the league. Well, there were some conflict issues between that team and the league, and so they didn't want us to give to the league. And so we ended up having to back away from that for fear of getting in the middle of a mess. And so there are a number of things we have to maneuver around. But again, please understand, Joe Blow, public citizen, that there is nothing about public funds that causes these individuals up here to say, I don't want to give to that organization. Some of us even go a little bit too far with that. But honestly, it's not an issue of us not wanting to give. It's just a matter of sometimes we're not legally able to give. And please understand that. So that's why we're spending so much time talking about it. But
yeah, I want to say something too about it. You know, Jay, you're doing a good job. Just keep doing what you're doing. And sometimes we can't listen to everybody. If the attorney sitting right there, he represents not only the mayor, he represents us, the city council. And we would love to give. You know, I give personally, and we would give if we could. And once he said we can't, I'm gonna tell you the process. The legal writes up the contract, okay? Then he sends the contract to the mayor's office for his signature because he has to sign every contract. Then they will call that organization and they come in and sign the contract. Then the monies are released. We can't do that if the legal is telling us it's illegal for us to give, okay? That's not throwing him under the bus, but he has to make sure we don't get in trouble because as you know, I've had to pay money back. So, and I don't want to get in trouble and have to pay any money back anymore. So if this man tell me no, then we can't do it. It's just that simple. So the community, they're going to have to understand, if it's a way if we could sponsor the team, I would be more than happy to do that. But we got to make sure it's legal so we don't get in any trouble, okay?
why don't you, Councilman Worthy, why don't you go ahead? We're at remarks by the mayor and council, so if you got anything else, go ahead.
Okay, well, no, I think you're doing a good job, and like you said, I told you upstairs, we're going to work with you and try to get you a place to train because it's not right that you have to train these kids out there in the street. And I've seen y'all running up there by Martin Luther King Center, and you know that's dangerous running in the road. You can get run over anything. So I don't understand why you can't train out there. That's a city facility. The city paid for that facility, the track field out there at Gadsden City. Or we could talk with the board and you know, if it's a conflict and try to get you over at Murphy Stadium. Now we could give the school some money to help them fix up the track out there at Murphy Stadium and all, but you know, that's just me talking. I can give out of my discretionary funds if I have to, if they are guaranteed that y'all could practice over there, okay? All right.
Mr. Eccles?
I don't have anything.
Councilman Billingsley? Mr. Reed?
No, everything.
Councilman?
I'm just going to start announcing on April the 30th, there'll be a district meeting for District 1, April the 30th at the Antioch Family Life Center. But I'll be announcing it, so those that live in that district who are interested, just spread the word.
Mayor?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I wasn't familiar with those kids, but the Price girls, they've been doing this for about 5 or 6, 7 years. They've got more medals than we could all pick up. And I always give them money out of my pocket when they come to see me. They're a bunch of good little girls, and they've won a lot of championships. And, I mean, when they come to see, they've got all these medals, and they go from about 6 years old up to probably about 12 or 13, I think. But they're also a really, really fine group of people. Thanks.
Okay.
Mayor, I think those kids have graduated.
They may have also.
And you know, you get that all the time and stuff, you know.
It's called brain overload.
All right. So as many of you know, we didn't meet on last week. We were in D.C. We were in D.C. Talking with our congressional delegates, and so, you know, Mr. Rigby, y'all aren't the only one that have to ask, man. So we were there talking about a number of different projects. As you know, many of us serve on national committees, so we have to advocate relative to national issues, but there are also issues that are specific to us. So our basket of things that we talked about was, of course, tax reform. It's believed, and maybe I just completely missed it, but it's believed that we may have lost our ability to refinance bonds through the tax reform bill. So because of that, that's going to be huge to municipalities. Again, we do all the heavy lifting, and now we've lost a tool that's really helpful. Much of what you see in terms of riverfront development, we've been able to do by refinancing bad debt and converting it to better products that gave us somewhat of a refund. So that's a huge blow to us, but some other things we've been able to maintain. We still maintain our tax-free municipal bond status as well. So that, again, gives us that tool to continue to do big projects. The infrastructure bill, it's scary. You know, I was happy to hear from Representative Craig Ford a couple weeks ago, because we're going to have to do more creative things like that to help to fund our infrastructure projects locally. When you start talking about an infrastructure program that's built on a network of toll roads, you know, think about for a minute how that plays out where we live. I mean, some of us go our lifetime and never see a toll road in Alabama, and there are a couple in Alabama. But if that's the only way you can raise money and get private investment into your infrastructure projects, then you're gonna have problems getting your roads paved. So that's what the president's given us at this point, and that's very unfortunate for states like Alabama. So, you know, don't let these guys go unchecked as it relates to that kind of thing. CDBG, we got commitments from our delegation that CDBG is not in trouble. Not sure how much I believe that, but we're going to continue to raise that issue and bring it up because, again, that's one of the many ways that we provide seed money for a lot of these projects that you see. The Airport Authority, of course, we talked about that and got some assurances from Congressman Adderholt that he would support us in securing funding. So it was good to hear some of that feedback. And the last thing, is I had the opportunity to serve on a panel where we talked about the census, and it was I thought it was a very good discussion. And the big thing that we need to make sure that we highlight is that it's not only going to be a paper form this year. So please don't let anybody sell you the notion that they're replacing the paper form with an electronic version, because there are a lot of folks who don't know what they're talking about saying that. The electronic version or the online version is an option. So it's an additional option that you'll see in 2020. In 2020, it's an additional option that you'll see where you can also get paper as well as do it online if that's better for you. The goal there is to make sure the Census Bureau is trying to make sure that they drive up participation. If you did not know it, please, you know, and I think most of us do, but if you didn't just realize it or didn't think about it, that's the way that we secure a basis for a lot of the funding requests that we get as a city, as a municipality, as a state. So we need people to not burrow underground, but we need them to come out and fill out those forms. And you're not going to get put in jail. You're not going to get arrested, even if you got outstanding warrants. Just because you fill out the census form, none of that's going to happen. We need people filling that. We need people to complete the census. So that was a lot of the conversation. Ivan Nelson was there in the audience, and she can tell you that was a lot of the conversation. People are just really concerned that people won't come out of their homes and complete, or they're going to underreport or do some things because they're afraid of the census process. So you'll be seeing some things from the city of Gadsden here in the upcoming months to help drive awareness about that whole census process, because again, it is very important. When you start talking about youth funding and youth programs using public dollars, you know, having people to come out and report those children is important. It's important to come out and, you know, and we have a very high renter population in Gadsden. And so we have to be even more particular about making sure that we account for that very transient population of people, and so that we can make sure that there's public funds out there for the programs associated with them. So, but otherwise, I think it was a meaningful trip, and we'll see where any of that talking gets us going forward. Okay. Is there anything else, guys? If there's nothing else, I entertain a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
We're gonna eat the Mexican food.